What is a truth you don't like accepting about yourself? I'm constantly plagued with the idea of fearing failure, but I am then constantly being lazy and then panic when I see others moving ahead. Edit, thanks for the comments, upvotes and awards, especially the comments. Holy shit, you are me. I graduated with my business degree last fall but have yet to leave my full-time grocery store job because I'm good at it and it pays the bills. I'm so afraid I'm going to suck at and fail any new job I get and then lose my stable source of income, so I just keep putting off applying. I've been using the pandemic as an excuse, but in reality it's my anxiety about failure. Meanwhile all my friends are making good money in real jobs while I'm still stuck as a wage slave making $13 an hour. Can't fail if you never actually try. Tax head. My fear of being judged in a situation suppresses my genuine thoughts about things, and it can make me awkward, unfunny, or seem like I'm trying way too hard. It's like all social interactions have some sort of performative aspect to them, and that thought is constantly broadcasted on some primal level of my consciousness. It causes me to cringe at myself before I even do anything. This typically occurs when I'm around anyone I'm uncomfortable with, and if I do forget about it, and something suddenly happens to draw my attention back to the meta of a given social situation, the feeling tends to double down. I'm not even antisocial, which makes it worse because I genuinely like interacting with people, but it sabotages a large amount of interactions for me and makes it hard to make friends. Let me give you advice in the form of a quote by David Foster Wallace: "You'll worry less about what people think about you when you realize how seldom they do. People are always stuck inside their own heads. Once you realize how little people are judging you because they only think about how others judge you, similar to how you feel now, your eyes will open to a comfortable social world." This is me too. For me, it's like I'm trying to view myself in third person versus first person. Instead of being present, in the moment of a social situation, I'm trying to objectively observe myself and the interactions I have in the situation. I often come off awkward because I'm so hyper-focused on how I want to be perceived that I can't be myself. I'm paralyzed with indecision and feel like I keep making panic moves. Edit, wow, thank you for all the responses and awards. So many of you have provided advice that is thoughtful and kind. I've got 130 plus notifications and I'll try to respond to each one. I understand. Do you have any other tendencies towards anxiety? You sound like Chidi from The Good Place. I don't treat my body well and I have a lot of crutches that will impact me later in life. Alcohol, nicotine, caffeine, sedentary lifestyle and pornography. You? I feel you, man. I have the exact same as you. I can get emotional over stupid things. I try not to and I recognize it happening but feel out of control over it. In my experience, when I get emotional over things that seem trivial, it's because they are standing in for much bigger things. They're like the understudies for the real issues. This is what I try and do when I find myself being like that, upset because that person didn't say you're welcome fast enough when I said thank you. Nah, you're not upset about that. You're upset because you feel like you did the right thing and weren't acknowledged. You don't like feeling unacknowledged because it makes you feel ignored. You don't like ignored because it makes you feel like you don't matter. And you hate feeling like you don't matter, because all the traumatic shit you've pushed through in life, a lot of it has been done to you by people showing you through their actions, abuse that you don't matter and what you want or say is irrelevant. Does that make sense? These feelings may be triggered by something that seems really trivial, but a lot of the time if you dig down asking yourself why does that matter, you find some core truths. And peace as well. Edit, my thanks for the awards. How kind. For those of you asking, okay well. Then what? I have a response to that below. But to give you the short summary, positive self-talk to redirect your energy from feeding the trigger, to feeding a more positive activity. Great advice, but how do I do that then, Egon? you ask? Here is what I posted in answer to another user. Good question. So the next thing I try to do is some positive self-talk. It helps me because after I recognize the trigger, I redirect the energy I am feeding it to something that is more productive. I worked on this short mantra with a therapist a few years ago. It's designed to contradict a lot of unhelpful thought patterns I have, namely that I am worthless, that I shouldn't expect nice things, and that I am unlovable. My mantra is I am worthwhile. I am worth looking after. I love myself. I say this, sometimes quietly under my breath, to myself several times in a row so I can short-circuit any patterns of thought that say yeah, that woman who didn't say you're welcome was right. You're a piece of shit and you don't deserve jack squat, stop whining, etc, etc, etc. You can make your own mantra like this, and you're very welcome to use mine. When I started doing this, I repeated it to myself hundreds of times a day. Literally hundreds. I had to, I was in so many destructive patterns. Drinking, drugs, emotionally destructive and very difficult to be around. I would say it to myself all the way on my walk from home to the bus stop. To every negative thought or welling up of emotion, when I noticed them during the day. All the way back from the bus stop home. And again 10 times before sleep. It really, really helped. I think this is very common within people. If you feel overwhelmed sometimes, I can advise a really good book called Happy by Derren Brown. It's basically a self-help book that explains scientifically why self-help books are bullshit. It delves into the science of happiness and looks at it with an angle of stoicism. Very fun read and it leaves you happier. I'm lazy and have no discipline. This is mine. If I have no structure, I just don't get anything done. I've had jobs with little to no supervision along with being 100% commission. I always failed. But if I have a job that I have scheduled tasks that must be met, I crush it. I could write a PhD about lying in bed, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm lazy. I can naturally be mean if I don't think carefully before I speak. The fact that you are aware of this makes you so much better than a lot of other people who will go around and be mean without even realizing what they're doing. Recognition is the first step to improvement, and the fact that you're willing to improve makes you a better person. Go you. I felt this hard. What do you do to prevent this besides thinking before you speak? Sometimes I just respond quick with close friends so I'm not sure if I'm coming off as a jerk or cocky. I'd if it's the tone or what I say. I'm not funny. Can you make yourself laugh though? Don't try too hard. People that are obviously trying to be funny in social situations are immediately obvious and it undermines the thing they said, even if it was actually a good joke. Usually you'll end up forcing the joke when it doesn't really work and that is clumsy and a bit cringy. It is possible to learn comedy. Most great comedians are very intelligent and have worked hard to craft their act, even if the act seems dumb. Watch stand-up and sketch shows. If something makes you laugh, think about what the comedian or show did. It usually comes down to timing, structure, subverting expectation, callbacks, or breaking taboo. Knowing your audience is another thing. I have a very dark sense of humor born of working in computer forensics where seeing incredibly sick shit all day kinda develops it as necessity. But I also like lighter stuff. Dark comedy will slay some people but absolutely revolt others. I don't tell my prudish mumsnet friend my pedo jokes. Finally, don't just tell jokes or repeat other people's comedy. They might get a laugh but no one ever called a friend who just knows a lot of jokes the funny guy. It's more about dropping the right comment into the conversation at the right time. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.